Breaking news out of Dallas, Texas. America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, have just made a massive move that's already sending shockwaves across the NFL landscape. In a surprising turn of events, the Cowboys have officially signed two prominent football talents, cornerback Robert Rochell and defensive tackle Perrion Winfrey, in what insiders are calling a strategic, multi-million-dollar acquisition aimed at reshaping the defensive unit heading into training camp. This is not just another depth move or standard pre-camp transaction. This is the kind of headline-making, locker-room-shaking signing that tells fans, analysts, and opposing teams alike, the Cowboys are loading up, they're getting serious, and they're not here to play around in the 2025 season. Let's unpack the whole story. Starting with Robert Rochell, a former standout at Central Arkansas who was drafted by the Los Angeles Rams, he brings not just speed and agility to the Cowboys' defensive backfield, but also a resume that includes experience in a championship-caliber defense. Rochell was part of that elite Rams secondary that helped win Super Bowl 56, and while his role was rotational at times, he learned from the best, studying under guys like Jalen Ramsey and managing to carve out a presence on special teams and as a backup corner. The Cowboys' secondary has already been strong, anchored by stars like Trayvon Diggs and Darren Bland, but injuries and depth concerns last season left the team exposed, especially during high-pressure games. Bringing in Rochell is not just about adding a body, it's about installing a battle-tested athlete who knows how to contribute, who understands the rhythms of NFL offenses, and who isn't fazed by the moment. With the defensive scheme now under the leadership of new defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus, Rochell's timing couldn't be better. Eberflus, known for his focus on fundamental football and swarming defense, values cornerbacks who can tackle, play multiple coverages, and bring energy on every down. Rochell fits the bill perfectly. He's long, rangy, and aggressive, exactly the kind of player who thrives in a scheme where corners are expected to support both in man and zone, while also showing up in run support. This signing has ripple effects across the roster. Young corners will now face more competition in camp. Veterans like Jordan Lewis and backup nickel corners will have to prove they still have an edge. And on top of that, the special teams unit just got a whole lot more dangerous, with Rochell likely sliding into one of the gunner roles on punt and kick coverage. Now let's talk about Perrion Winfrey, a player whose journey to Dallas has taken a slightly more unconventional path, but might just be the X factor the Cowboys need up front. Winfrey, once a star at the University of Oklahoma, was drafted by the Cleveland Browns and showed flashes of brilliance in his rookie year. However, off-field issues and inconsistencies saw him part ways with Cleveland, prompting a temporary shift in his professional path. Instead of fading into obscurity, Winfrey made the bold move of joining the United Football League, UFL, where he absolutely dominated. This past season, Winfrey was a force in the UFL trenches, earning all UFL honors and catching the eye of multiple NFL scouts, but it was Dallas that pulled the trigger and brought him back to the big leagues. And here's the thing, this isn't a feel-good comeback story for headlines. The Cowboys truly believe that Winfrey can be a rotational piece or even a starter if he maximizes his upside. With his 6'4", 290-pound frame, explosive get-off, and violent hands, Winfrey presents a serious problem for interior offensive lines. If he stays focused and integrates into the culture Dallas is building under Mike McCarthy and Eberflus, he could not only earn a spot on the 53-man roster but contribute meaningful snaps in short yardage and pass rushing situations. The Cowboys were thin at defensive tackle last year after some injuries and inconsistent performances, and this signing gives them the flexibility to rotate bodies and keep their linemen fresh across all four quarters. Think about it, you already have Osa Odigizwa anchoring the line after receiving a big contract extension this offseason, and now you add a motivated, hungry, and rejuvenated Winfrey into the mix. That's trouble for opposing offensive coordinators. And speaking of that extension, the Cowboys front office has been very intentional about how they've structured contracts this offseason. Between the OSA deal, which came in at around $80 million over 4 years, and the anticipated mega deal for Micah Parsons that is still looming, Dallas has had to be strategic with cap space. That's why Rochelle and Winfrey, despite being talented players, are on relatively affordable deals that provide both upside and flexibility. They're not cap-busting contracts, but they're also not throwaway deals either. There are performance-based incentives built in, meaning both players are being bet on to rise to the occasion, and the Cowboys stand to benefit big if they do. And all of this is happening while the team continues to reshape its identity post-Ezekiel Elliott, with a new core forming around Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, and a defense-first mentality that has clearly become the backbone of this squad. When you look at how the 2025 offseason has unfolded for Dallas, it's clear that this is a team looking to correct the mistakes of past years. No more leaning too hard on big names that are past their prime. No more bloated contracts that limit future moves. Instead, they've gone out and signed players like Miles Sanders to help in the backfield, retooled the linebacker core with the additions of Kenneth Murray and Jack Sanborn, added receiver depth with Paris Campbell, and now doubled down on defense by bringing in Rochelle and Winfrey. These are calculated moves, each one bringing in players with something to prove, while also not jeopardizing future financial flexibility. And speaking of the future, keep your eyes on the looming extension for Micah Parsons. It's going to reset the market for defensive players. Reports are swirling that it could land in the $35–40 million per year range, which would make him the highest paid non-quarterback in league history. That kind of contract takes planning, and the Cowboys know it. Which is why getting quality depth on team-friendly deals like Rochelle and Winfrey is so crucial. They're stacking talent without wrecking the cap. And that's what makes this shakeup so fascinating. It's not just that they signed two players. It's how they did it, why they did it, and what it means for the larger picture in Dallas. Because this team is entering a pivotal window. Dak is still playing at a high level. CeeDee Lamb is entering his prime. The offensive line, while aging in parts, still has all-pro anchors like Zach Martin and Tyler Smith. And defensively, the team is looking to take the leap from good to elite. The additions of Rochelle and Winfrey aren't headline-grabbing in the way that a blockbuster trade would be, but they might end up being the kind of low-risk, high-reward moves that championship teams make. And fans are already responding. Social media blew up within hours of the news breaking. Cowboys fans are excited. Analysts are intrigued. Opposing fan bases are anxious. And you better believe every beat reporter covering this team is going to be watching these two guys closely in training camp. If they stand out, and there's a good chance they'll not only make the roster, they could carve out significant roles. So as the Cowboys gear up for training camp and preseason action, keep your eyes on numbers 29 and 97 Rochelle and Winfrey, because this roster just got a lot more interesting. And if all goes according to plan, these signings could be the underrated spark that helps ignite a deep playoff run. The message from Jerry Jones and the front office is loud and clear. Dallas is building not just to compete but to win. And this roster shakeup is just one more step in the pursuit of that elusive sixth Lombardi trophy. Whether you're a die-hard fan or a casual observer, this is the time to start paying attention, because the Dallas Cowboys just reminded the NFL they're not here to rebuild. They're here to reload. And with that, the countdown to kickoff just got a whole lot more exciting.